Hello, I'm Milad Kambari, and welcome to version 3 of the LiveLink plugin connecting Blender to Unreal. First of all, I want to extend a special thank you for your warm reception, for the ratings and reviews you've provided, and for all the feedback you've sent my way. Naturally, the outcome of all this feedback, your requests, and the positive comments you sent is version 3, which I have now prepared for you. In version 3, I've tried to include everything you needed, plus a few other new and exciting options, into this version. Let's dive in together and see what new things have been added. One of the common issues that users frequently encountered was that their connection ports would become full. What does that mean? It means they would start LiveLink within the Blender software. They'd also start LiveLink in Unreal, but the connection wouldn't be established. One of the reasons for this is that the number of add-ons we're using is increasing day by day. And this might create a conflict between the connection ports of two software applications, which for us here are Blender and Unreal, and these ports might become full. That's why I've provided a solution within the Blender LiveLink section. I've set up 5 ports for you, ranging from 9876 to 9880. Anywhere you find the connection isn't established, just change your port. If the connection is established normally on port 9876, which was the default, then just continue using that one. If it's not established, then go ahead and change it. To change it, for example, in Unreal, we'll set it to 9877, and you must also set it to 9877 here, meaning both of them must be identical. And in Blender, I'll click Start, and I'll also click Start in Unreal. When we click Start, you'll see the connection was easily established here. So that's that. The next topic is that one of the options I've added to this version is the animation option. Now we want to talk about animation. It's one of the most exciting parameters added in this section. Before I give you more details about this parameter, in the new update, I tried to increase the speed of data transfer from Blender to Unreal. In previous versions, there was some delay in sending data from Blender to Unreal, but now I've also improved its speed. So information transfers faster now, with the exception of animation. When animation data needs to be transferred, it takes a bit more time because it contains a larger amount of data. Whereas for simpler models, this data is less, and naturally, it transfers much faster. Here, I have a model that has an animation. This is my model's animation. Now, I want to send this animation over to Unreal. Since my model has an armature, we need to see the model's armature. Now, what if our models didn't have an armature? I'll tell you what to do in the rest of the tutorial. If your model has an armature, select your model's armature and then send the animation. Once you click Send Animation, all of your animation data will be sent to Unreal. And you can see that this data was sent very quickly, and here we can see our animated model. Now, to see this model's animation, naturally, this is our model's animation, which we can easily see. Now look. Because the frame range, or rather the number of frames this animation has in Blender, is very low. It only has about 15 animation frames, so it's being seen with a delay in Unreal. Meaning that one frame plays and the rest are empty. This stutter you're seeing is exactly because of that. Now, let's assume you naturally have a longer animation, so you won't have this stutter in it. You definitely have more complete animations in your own projects. But let's assume our animation is short. We want to extend the animation, make it longer, or even make changes to our animation. How are these applied to the model that exists in Unreal? We stop Unreal, come out, and go into Blender. Assume we want to make some changes to the animation. Here, let me open the dope sheet in this viewport. And I select my armature, then I go to the Filters section to see its frames here. For example, I select these frames, Ctrl-C, then I go to the last frame, press Ctrl-V again, and repeat. I've added my frames 4 times here, so it's as if I've also made some changes to the animation. I mean, I did something similar to this. Now you can make any other changes to the animation. I've created a loop here from the model, specifically the animation that exists on our armature. Okay, now what we'll do is send it again. I'll click Send here, Send Animation. This means while the armature is selected, click Send Animation. Wait a few moments in Blender, in Unreal, so we can see the result. Okay. Now the result has been transferred to Unreal. I'll select my model again. Now I'll play it here. Okay, see? Exactly the same loop has been placed on our model. That same loop was applied. Now, any other change can be applied to your animation. So, in this manner, we can edit our animations and then send them over to Unreal. Our animation is also automatically assigned to our object model. Now let's go and look at another model together, one that doesn't have an armature. We have an object in the scene. Let's see how that works. Meaning it works with a form other than a character and armature. Okay, the next animation I've brought is one where a model hits a series of objects, and there's a reaction involved. It's a somewhat complex process because the number of objects is quite high, and here we can see that. Here, we want to see how we can transfer these objects, along with their animation, over to Unreal. Okay. Before we perform the transfer, I've added another parameter called Clear All LiveLink Objects. This Clear All LiveLink Objects function deletes all objects that have been transferred from Blender to Unreal through the LiveLink plugin. It only deletes these objects. It doesn't affect objects related to your own scene that you imported. It only deletes these specific ones. So, I'll click Clear All, and it will delete all the objects that have been transferred to us using this plugin. We'll wait a moment for the deletion to complete. Okay, it's done. Let the deletion complete. Okay, it's done. Now I want to send this new object. Naturally, since my new object and new animation have a bit more complexity compared to my character, it will take longer to send. Therefore, I'm going to select all the models. Hello, I am Milad Kambari, and welcome to Version 3 of the LiveLink plugin connecting Blender to Unreal. Excuse me, I'll select all my models. And now you can send your animation to Unreal in two different ways. One way is to bake animation to model, meaning all your animations are baked onto your model, and then you send animation. The other way is a situation where you don't bake your animation onto your models at all, and you directly send animation. The difference between these two methods depends on the complexity of your models. This means when the number of your models becomes very complex and you have a large quantity of models, it's better to perform a bake before sending. However, in terms of quality, there's no difference between bake animation and send animation. Here, send animation works for me, so I don't need to bake, but I will still show you how to bake. I'll click Send Animation here, and it will begin the sending process. Naturally, when we have a large number of models, and each of our models, like the ones present here, has its own specific animation and its corresponding keyframes, it takes a bit more time to send them. So we'll wait for this export to be completed. Okay, let's play it to see the result. Here's the result. Okay, in this way, all models that had animation but no armature are transferred to us like this. Right. Let me tell you another point here about baking animation. Look here. The animation on my models is not baked. I'll select 2 or 3 of them to show you the test results, so I can explain what happens. When you click Bake Animation to Model, keyframes are added here. This means keyframes are generated for these models frame by frame. And this is how you can transfer it over to Unreal. And definitely, to transfer it to Unreal, make sure to use the Send Animation button. These models, along with their keyframes, will be sent to Unreal. And that's it for this section. Let's discuss another issue, or rather another parameter that has been added in the latest update. Okay, I'll explain something very simple to you. Then I'll also show you the more advanced model. One of the parameters you had brought up was regarding objects that had high multiplicity, meaning there were many objects. When they were sent to Unreal, the location or position of the objects would get messed up. This means that in some projects, for some individuals, it had happened that when the model was sent to Unreal, its position would get messed up. Well, for this, I've also solved this problem in version 3. For example, here, let me clear these. We can also clear them using this Clear All Live Link Objects option. We can also clear it in the Live Link Objects. I'll select these. All objects should be selected. Let it come up a bit. All of these should be selected, and I'll click Send Selected. Let's see the result in Unreal. All objects settled in their proper place. No object needed to be joined either. So this problem was also resolved in version 3. Okay, let's move on to another parameter. This was also a problem that existed in some projects. For example, they had mentioned a problem that you all faced in some projects. I am deliberately choosing a model from BlenderKit, meaning I don't want to import any pre-made models. I'll bring a model from BlenderKit to show you that in the new version, textures are sent more completely. A model that is free and we can use. Both the textures are sent completely, and our sending speed has significantly increased. For example, this one object. An object that has many small parts and also has textures. I'll close this, and all its textures are fully present on this object. To send this object, first I'll clear these. I'll click Clear Live Link. The old objects should be cleared. Now I select this model. This model is fully joined and is a single unified model. And here I click Send Selected, and it won't take long, just a few seconds. Let's see the result. The model is sent along with all its textures. Okay, this is our model, and all its textures have been fully sent to us. And from now on, the model transfer speed between Blender and Unreal is higher. All its textures are also readable for us, just like before. And you can see that in this project, each object was placed in its correct position, and we no longer have object displacement. I hope this update is also appealing to you. Your feedback can definitely help me a lot in creating better and more complete versions. The ratings and reviews you left, and the feedback you sent me. Naturally, this is the result of the feedback, requests, and positive comments you provided.